welcome back to the She Shed. Today's tutorial is going to be making these wonderful rainbow slipper socks. I've made them to be around about a size 7, 8, 9. I will step through how you can make it bigger or smaller to fit your foot, which is super easy, super simple. So what did I use to make this? I used this, and it will take you less than a ball of yarn to make it. That's all I've got left over. Let's get a big ball, show you what it looks like. So this is called Cosy Wool, and I buy it from Lincraft. It is 100% superwash wool, which theoretically means you can put it in the washing machine, but I would still recommend hand washing. It is about 174 meters. It says a 4.5 millimeter hook, but I am going to use a 5.5 millimeter hook. I generally go up a size in hook, and it is called Bright Mix. The hook I will be using is this 5.5 millimeter hook from Furls or I. You will need a pair of scissors, yarn needle, stitch marker, and if you wish, a stitch counter. So let's get this project started. We're going to start off this project by doing the rib at the top of your slipper. And how we do that is put in a slip knot, grab your hook, put your hook in, and we are going to chain 6. So it's 5 plus 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 1. We are going to be doing single crochet in each stitch to make the rib, and we are going into the front of the stitch into this V here. So the front has the V, the back has the loop, and we are going to be going into the front. So for the first row, miss the first stitch, the 6th stitch that you did, miss that first chain, and then go into the next chain and grab your yarn and pull it through, grab your yarn, pull through the 2 on the hook, go into the next chain stitch, put your hook in, grab your yarn, pull it through, grab your yarn, pull through the 2 on the hook. Next chain, put your hook in, grab your yarn, pull it through, grab your yarn, pull through the 2 on the hook. Up to number 4, hook in, grab your yarn, pull it through, grab your yarn, pull through the 2 on the hook. And last stitch, which is number 5, put your hook in, grab your yarn, pull it through, and grab your yarn and pull through the 2 on the hook. So you should always have 5 in stitches at the end of each row. Then at the end of the row, chain 1, turn your work, and now we are going to go into each one of these V's, but we're going to go into the middle of it just like we did before. Into the middle of that, grab your yarn, pull it through, grab your yarn, pull through the 2 on the hook, and we just continue this process for every row. And this will create your rib stitch, that ribbing around the top of your slipper. When you come to the end of the row, chain 1, turn your work, and go into this first stitch, not the chain that you just did, but the first stitch here. And make sure that you are doing 5 stitches on each row, and I always count as I'm going along. And this is number 5, and then chain 1, turn your work, and continue. Now you are going to continue this, if you're following along with me, 26 rows. Now if you've got a very small foot or making this for a child, reduce the amount of rows that you will require, and that's easy to know. As you're making it along, just keep trying it around the ankle. This is going to go up over the ankle it won't be going any further, so just make sure that it goes around the ankle comfortably. Don't overstretch it. Just make sure that it is comfortable around the ankle, and that will be the size that you will require. Now, I made this to fit my foot, and I do have small ankles, but 26 fit comfortably for me. So if you want to follow along with me, 26 rows are what you will need. So I will meet you back here after you've finished your required amount of rows, and if you are following along with me, that will be 26 rows. When you have completed your 26 rows, if you are following along with me, if you're doing it smaller or bigger, make sure that where you finish is the opposite end of where your tail is. Okay, this will make sense in a minute why. Now we're going to join the two ends together so we make our circle. So line up the two ends and put your hook into the very tippy top of the first stitch. Grab a yarn and pull through. Now for every stitch you're going to be going to straight into the middle of that V and grabbing the first part and get to the other side and of the next stitch and grab the top there. Okay, so you should have 3 loops on your hook. Grab a yarn and pull through all 3. So what we're doing is slip stitching the two sides together. So go into the loop on that side, go into the opposite loop on the other side, and then grab a yarn and pull through all 3. And keep working all the way down. Okay, so once you've done that, turn your work inside out. And you should have the tail over to your left. Chain 1. And now what we are going to do is put a half double crochet into every row. And it's really easy to see the rows here because you've got row that is risen and one that goes down, and one is risen and one's go down, so on and so forth. So just put a stitch into the top of each one of these, and that would mean you end up with 26 stitches. The first one, I always also sew in my tail as I go, so as I'm making the stitches, I make the stitches over the tail. So the first one is going to go into this up raised bit here, so just go straight in the top. Grab a yarn, pull it through. Sorry, start again. We're doing a half double crochet. So yarn over, go into the top, grab a yarn, pull it through. Make sure your tail is laying across the top so you catch that. And grab a yarn and pull through all 3 stitches on the hook. Now the next one's going to go into what I call the valley. So grab your yarn over the hook, and then go into the row there, grab your yarn, pull it through. You can see I'm going over the tail as well. Grab your yarn and pull through the 3 stitches, 3 loops on your hook. Now I'm going to redo this one because I've only used 1 stitch here and it makes a bit of a hole, so I don't like that look. So let me do that again. Grab your yarn and I'm going to go down a bit further. Grab your yarn, pull it through, and grab your yarn and pull through the 3 stitches on the hook, and there we go. It's a little bit tighter there. Grab your yarn into the next one, grab a yarn, pull it through, and grab a yarn and pull through 3 on the hook, and keep doing this all the way around. Hold down your tail until you've completely finished covering that. And I will leave you to finish that top row off. This is row number 1 of your sock. Doing the we're starting on this part of the sock now, so this is row number 1. And I'll leave you to finish that row, and you should have 26 stitches if you're following along with me. Okay, so when you finish that row, just double check that you've got your 26 stitches there, and we are now going to be working in the round. So we're not going to be joining together the row with a slip stitch and then stepping up 1. We're going to work in the round, and the reason why we do that is when you look at your slipper, you cannot tell where the start and the end is. So working in the round makes it seamless. If you were working where you join the row together and step up, you'd have a seam all the way down your sock. And not only does it not look good, but also it can become irritating because you've got that seam there. But generally it just doesn't have a good finish. So I like this seamless look because you can't tell where you started or where you finished your project. So how we do this is you've got your first stitch here. Now it's not the chain one here. This, you can see the chain one is right here. We're going into the first stitch. So just continue working your stitches. So yarn over and go straight into that first stitch. Grab a yarn, pull it through, and grab a yarn and pull through all 3 on the hook, and keep going. Okay. What I do at this point is go back with a stitch marker, any stitch marker. You can even use old pieces of wool, and I mark where that last stitch was in my round, which is right there, and that was my first row. So just so I know where it is, so when I'm counting up my rows, I know exactly where I'm at. We are going to be doing 5 rows in the round. Now you can either count it in your head, you can have a piece of paper and mark it on a piece of paper, or get yourself a stitch counter and then just mark on your stitch counter what you're up to. So I just wear my stitch counter and I count my rows that way. So you need to now do 5 rows. So we've already done row number 1 and we're on row number 2. 5 rows. And then when you finish the 5 rows, we're going to then do the heel. So I will meet you back here at the end of your 5 rows. Once you have completed your 5 rows, this is where we're now going to do the heel. So the first part is we need to increase to have that bit going out here for the heel. Then we're going to do the rows for the body of the heel, and then we're going to bring it back in. So first of all, we need to increase to make it go out. So what we're going to do is 4 stitches of increase. So yarn over, go into the next stitch, grab a yarn, pull it through, grab a yarn, pull through the 3 on the hook, there's stitch number 1, and then we're going to go yarn over straight back into the same stitch, grab a yarn, pull it through, grab a yarn and pull through the 3 on the hook. So what we've done is put 2 stitches in the 1 stitch below, and that is 1 increase. We're going to repeat this 3 more times so we have 4 lots of increase. So it's 2, 3, 4. So you can see there, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. And now what I'm going to do is get my stitch marker and bring it up so that it's in the stitch before that increase. You'll see why in a minute. Now I'm going to do my half double crochets as normal, 1 in each stitch, until I get to my last 4 stitches. Just checking if I'm up to my last 4 stitches. So there was my increase there. There's my stitch marker. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've got 2 more stitches before my 4. 1, 2, and now 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to do it again. 2 half double crochets in the same stitch. 1 for the next 4. So that's 1. 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so we've got our increase over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and our increase over the end of the row, 1, 2, 3, 4. And now what we're going to do is 7 rows of normal half double crochet in the round, and just continue going for the next 7 rows. Now what I would say is, after you've done the first 2 stitches, grab your stitch marker, bring it up to that first stitch there. So that's the first stitch after your last increase. So there's your first stitch, there's the increase there, the last one, there's the first stitch. So that's the beginning of your first row. And we're doing 7 rows now. So just continue working in the round for 7 rows, and I will meet you back here, and this is where we will decrease our heel and finish our heel off. So I will meet you back here after you've finished your 7 rounds. When you have completed your 7 rows, this now means we need to bring our heel in. So we have now completed bringing our heel out, doing the lumpy bit here, and now we've got to bring the heel back in again. So how we do this is we decrease. And how we do a decrease, yarn over, go into the first stitch, bring a yarn through, go into the second stitch, bring a yarn through, and then yarn over and bring your hook through all the stitches, all the loops on your hook, and that's a decrease. So we need to do this 4 times. So that's number 1. Number 2, yarn over into the stitch, bring a yarn through, go into the next stitch, bring a yarn through, and then yarn over and through all the loops on your hook. Number 2. Now do feel free to pull this in tight. We want to bring that heel in. So number 3, yarn over into the stitch, bring a yarn through, go into the next stitch, bring a yarn through, and yarn over through all the 4 stitches, loops on your hook. Last one, yarn over into the stitch, bring a yarn through, into the next stitch, bring a yarn through, and then yarn over and pull through all loops on the hook. Then what we need to do is half double crochet all the way around until you've got 8 stitches remaining. Now before I go any further, I forgot to bring my stitch marker up, because what I need to do is bring it up to the stitch before we did the decrease, and that tells me where the end of the row is. Okay, so let's continue around until we have got 8 stitches left of this round. Let's have a check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, just 2 more stitches, and then we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, and we repeat the same process. Yarn over, go into the stitch, bring a yarn through, go into the next stitch, bring a yarn through, yarn over the hook and through all 4 loops on the hook. Let's repeat that 3 more times. And the last one, there we go. Okay, so we have now made our heel, and what we now need to do is just do the foot, and the foot is really easy. All we're going to do now is continue working half double crochets in the round for 24 rows. Now that is for my foot, and it fits my foot, which is a 7.5 to 8. For you, if you have a smaller foot, just decrease the amount of rows you are going to do, and if you have a longer foot, increase the amount of rows you need to do. So we are just going to continue working out, get the stitch marker out of the way, working our half double crochets in the round, and this time for 24 rows if you are following me. Now before you go any further, make sure you bring your stitch marker up to the stitch that was before your decrease. So my last decrease was there, my stitch marker needs to go into here, and that will be the start of my first row, first round. Okay, so continue going on and doing the amount of rows required for your foot, and as I said, if you are following along with me, that is going to be 24 rows. When you have finished your last row, I will meet you back here to show you how to finish off your slipper. Okay, when you've finished your 26 rows, we've come to the end of our crocheting. So what you will need to do is leave a tail long enough to go around the top of your slipper. Get your scissors and just snip the end off, and then we're going to slip stitch into the next stitch. And bring a yarn through, and then get your yarn needle and you are just going to work all the way through the top, weaving in and out all the way around. Till you get back to the beginning, pull your yarn through and close the hole. There we go. And then just weave all the way through as many times as you like, that you feel that hole is closed up and tight as. And then when you feel that that is as tight as you think it is closed, then put in a couple of knots. 1, 2, and what I do after that is I also just weave it around again, just in case it does come undone, and then it's going to be very hard for it to come undone at all. There we go. And then snip the end off. Now I do the knots on the outside because you don't want to rub your toe on the top of that knot all the time, so I do that on the outside. Okay, so remove your stitch marker and you have your slipper, and there is your other one, matching one. There are your pair of rainbow slipper socks. Well everybody, I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions or comments, please leave that below. Please feel free to check out my Instagram page or my Facebook, or if you want to go and leave any photos of your finished product, please feel free to do so. My Instagram page is lucky_platypus1 and my website is www.luckyplatypus.com.au. Until next time everybody, take care, have a great day, see ya!